We want to welcome to the Carolina Sports Network here on Radio Row, ACC 2017 football kickoff, Dennis Hennigan. And Dennis, welcome to the program, and great to see you. You seem like a very busy man this afternoon making the rounds. What exactly, for those out there wondering, does the head of officiating do as far as what your job entails?
Well, my overall responsibility is the entire football officiating program at the ACC, everything from on-field to replay, hiring, training, officials, responding to coaches during the season and during the off-season. So the whole 9 yards.
How often do you find yourself that you have to, I don't want to say discipline any certain referees or officials, but how often do you have to chirp in their ear?
Well, our officials are evaluated every week by me and by observers, obviously by the coaches as well. And that process goes on throughout the season, and then at the end of the season, I evaluate each official and, come to a decision about whether or not that official will return for the next season or not. In my 2 years, we've had some turnover every season.
All right, I want to bring up a subject. I'm not taking a shot at anybody, but I just wanted to discuss this. Everyone remembers that Miami Duke game from a few years back with the replay, and I just want to know the whole issue with replay. You guys have taken a lot of steps to try to improve it. I know the ACC brought in a director of replay.
Correct.
Talk to me, what have you guys done since then to kind of not go back to that type of situation again? I know mistakes happen, but I'm just saying that's one of those things where people look at you and say, how do you get it wrong even when using the replay?
Well, replay is becoming a bigger and bigger part of the college game, and so you have to keep pace with it. And then you mentioned we hired a director of replay. In addition, we really amped up our off-season training of replay officials. And starting last year, we had the collaborative replay, which involved really off-site collaboration with the replay official in the stadium. And I think all of those things have really improved our staff.
How do you feel making those changes when some people say flack stuff like that they don't like that it changes the game, and not necessarily slowing it down, but it's taken away from the natural eyesight of official out there that you're constantly now reviewing everything. What do you say to that?
Well, my response to that is we want to get it right, and the technology has advanced now to the stage where it would be hard to justify letting a mistake go by when you can correct it.
When you have meetings with the officials and you get to that, how do you stress the importance to them to not let the atmosphere get in the way? And what I mean by that is when you have a game like Florida State or Clemson, or you have a game like Florida State Miami, when you have emotions running high from both sides of the field, then the fans are interacting. How do you, relay that to the officials that you got to block that out?
Well, you're able to. If you're not able to block that out, you're not going to officiate at this level. And I know I was fortunate to be able to do some of those games on the field. And once the game starts, it really is just another game, and that's how you approach it. I mean, if you're a good official, that's how you approach it. I mean, obviously you're aware of some games are more high profile than others, and you're aware of that. But you want to work those games. And that's why you do this.
We're talking with Dennis Hennigan, the coordinator of ACC football officiating here at the 2017 ACC football kickoff. Now, on the subject of replay, the way college does it, you guys buzz down if you see something, interrupt the play. NFL has the challenge system where the coach has to throw the flag out there. One of the peeves that a lot of people I talk to about the college game is it's getting too long. Baseball has an issue with length of game. College games are getting to be 4 hours and change between television and all the stoppages on first downs and with replay. Do you see maybe going to the NFL system of the coach has to challenge, and just if not, you just keep moving on and rely on people like yourself to make the correct call?
I haven't heard any discussion about going to a challenge system. Our average length of game last year was around 320, maybe 3:21. We'd like to get it to 3:15 or lower. And nationally, that's a point of emphasis this year. I think the average FBS game was maybe 3:25, 3:28.
What's when you use soccer officials as an example? They'll drag you off and kill you after a game if you don't pull it the way you want it. Is there a certain time that whether you're out there or if you've heard of officials being out there, that they don't feel exactly safe after they've made a bad call, or in a fan's opinion a bad call, or after a game that it might not have gone the way of a certain team?
Certainly never during a game, never at a stadium. But what we're starting to see is the impact of social media. Because people can find out they can find out everything about officials. And we're starting to see that officials or their families are receiving phone calls or emails from people who don't like calls that are being made. So that's becoming a bigger issue.
As far as this upcoming season, NFL always has points of emphasis, rule changes. These are the things we're going to focus on. Do you guys have that at the college level for this year? Like, what are the points of emphasis that you will go over with your officials that they need to look at?
Well, there's only a couple rule changes. The way college works is the rules system is on a 2-year cycle. So every other year, the only rule changes that are allowed are safety issues, and we're in year 2. So there's only a couple rule changes this year, one having to do with hurdling the line of scrimmage and one having to do with horse collar tackling. The other 2 issues that are really points of emphasis this year, one is the pace of the game, the length of the game that I mentioned, and the other that's receiving some press is the issue of coaches' behavior on the sidelines. There's an emphasis on keeping coaches off the field when they're upset with a call.
How do you go about the length of the game when you said there's an emphasis on that? What do you do? Like, what steps is there to do to make your official, I guess, pay more attention to not going a 4-hour game, as Mojo pointed out?
Well, the Rules Committee considered some rule changes, like for instance, not stopping the clock after a first down, but they decided not to do that. And instead, we're going to do a number of things. One is to start the game when it's supposed to be started. If it's a 3:30 kickoff, we want to start at 3:30, keeping halftime to 20 minutes. We did some analysis, and by the time we completed our analysis, we saw that half times were running up to as long as 23 minutes because you would wait until the interview with the coach was concluded before you started the clock. This year you're going to see the 20-minute halftime clock started immediately. We're going to try and get teams in and out of timeouts faster. Start the second half when it's supposed to be started. Keep TV timeouts to the agreed upon length. So there's a number of things we can do.